fry coming off that. Just whack a little spawn mop in and collect the eggs, and it's done. Apart from that, the shrimp population is going quite well as well. Not as good as being in a solo tank with just shrimp, but they are increasing in numbers. As you can see, I have a little bit of hair algae in here and some blackbeard, but it's nothing too problematic. And this is one of my Amano shrimp here, actively digging at the aqua soil and burying the carpet. Anyway, that'll wrap up this tank. I'll leave a little bit of footage up, some cinematic stuff to show it off a little bit better, and then we'll move on to the next tank. So this tank here is my 20 gallon long. It's 1 meter by 30 by 30 centimeters. It's not quite my favorite tank at the moment. It's got a few issues, mostly with string or hair algae. Otherwise it's going okay. It's been going for about 8 months. I've got some, what have I got in here? So I've got white cloud mountain minnows, cherry barbs, neon tetras, ember tetras, a ton of shrimp, and just recently I put some hill stream loaches in. So if I can get this to focus on these guys, they love to hang out on this filter here in the current. So I've got this filter turning on when the lights come on, so it runs for about 8 hours, split into two sections of 4 hours, and it's a nice little change. They race straight over there to jump in the current when it turns on. As you can see, they've got plenty of algae to chew on. Other than that, I do have some issues with string algae, as I mentioned earlier. It mostly comes from the moss. I'm going to rescape this tank soon, so I'll fix that stuff up as well at some stage. You can see the string in the moss at the back there. It's quite frustrating, so I'll have to work on getting rid of that. The shrimp population here is doing quite well as well, though most of the cherries have gone back to natural colour because I wasn't culling out any of the ones that reverted back to normal. Oh, there's ember tetras in there as well that I think I forgot to mention. Other than that, I'll leave a little bit more cinematic footage of this tank as well. It does look quite good. I do need to put a bit more water in there as well. But otherwise, yeah, we'll move on to the next tank in a second. So moving on to my newest tank, this is my vampire crab paludarium. I've got about 50 crabs in there. They've all been bred in this tank or the previous tank, so it's quite a lot for this tank, but having them in high numbers works well. Here's one of the alpha males at the moment. The captive bred ones are quite social, so they're not really as shy as the wild caught ones, which most seem to be in the wild. For some reason the last batch was primarily males, so I do have a lot of them, but I'm going to start selling them again soon, so the numbers should come down, and I'll try to keep a few females. They're less prone to fighting. And as you can see here, this is a crab molt, so one of the ones shed their shell in the last couple of days. It's usually why they go into the water, so they'll shed their shell, then just hang around till their shell hardens, and then go back to life on land. Apart from that, I have had a couple of issues with the plants. The crabs seem to eat a lot of them that I put in there. I did have some baby tears, I think they're called, in this far corner here on the right, but the crabs essentially ate all of it. It's the same one as up the top here. If you can see it, if it will focus. Yeah, so you can see they've already started chewing on the ends of that. Yeah, it is what it is. If they enjoy it, they enjoy it. I'll just swap it out with something else in the future. I've also added a few little stems of fig tree here, so a ficus. That's to help with some of the water absorption, and they grow quite fast. Again, the beaver skull is going quite well. I haven't had any issues with it. It's been in here for a while now. High humidity, and oh, there's another crab just there. Another male. So far the moss is growing really well as well, and there's a little tiny crab here, still getting its colors. Looks like a female, and again that's the plant they're chewing on, so you can see they've already nibbled the ends off. It was starting to creep, but that's over now. And I've got quite a collection of little spiders in here, which are handy because they eat and feed on the fungus gnats that come through the tank. Again, here he is. If I can get a focus on him. Again, this guy's a male. He's quite a nice looking crab actually. I won't do a cinematic for this one. I'll leave a link in the description for the full build video for this. So if you want to check it out, there's a ton of cinematic footage in there and the entire build video. So it's definitely worth checking out if you like vampire crabs and you want to build yourself a paludarium. Anyway, that's it for this one. Moving on to the next one. So here, it's another recent build. You might have seen the video for this as well. It's my little grow out bowl. So it's got Monte Carlo on the ground. I'm trying to carpet it, and it's full of Java moss. Apart from that, I've got a few ramshorn snails, one solo Neo cherry shrimp in there. He's just a little test run. And if I can get it to focus, there is a ton of little celestial peldanias in there. So we'll see if we can get one to focus. Okay, there's one. It's probably about 20 or so in there. And again, a little bit of hair algae, which is frustrating, but it is what it is. I've grown these little celestials out in a similar bowl before, but this one is loaded with moss, so I'm hoping to get an even better survival rate. But we will see. So far the bowl is going well. There's another little celestial there. That bowl is about, I think it's about a month old now, so things are going well. Even the Monte Carlos are starting to carpet in such a tiny bowl. Okay, moving on to my oldest tank. This one here is my 5-gallon tank. It used to be primarily for shrimp, but I've switched it to a better tank. And I've recently put these little rasboras in here, chili rasboras. They're going quite well. Still adjusting to color. There's 10 of them in there. My better fish will be going back in as well. He's just recovering from some fin rot. I have no idea how he got it because this tank is pristine all the time, 0 nitrates, 0 ammonia, and 0 nitrites, so a bit of an odd one. Down here I've got 4 little experimental jars. This one here I just built a couple of days ago. It's going to be a isopod breeding tank. I'm going to be using those for the main tank over here for the vampire crabs. It's good for the ecosystem, plus the crabs like to eat them. So I'll just get some cheap ones, probably some dairy cows, and I'll finish building this for those guys. I just got to get some moss and leaves. This here is my last or latest grow out jar. So again, it has celestial pearl danios in there. Another bit of an experiment. So a couple of shrimp, and I've just been dropping the eggs in there, and they hatch and grow out. So no heater, no filter, nothing, and they are coming along quite well. I think there's about 10 in there. There's a little bit of algae going, but they're great with that. Again, another one. Probably shouldn't have put stem plants in there. They're a little bit annoying. I have to trim them all the time. Same for this one. And these have been running for about 3 weeks, so no issues there. Just a cheap light on top. Usual 8 hours a day. And they are going very well. And that wraps up this video. I hope you found it pretty interesting. I've got a few more projects coming in the future, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.